1 second. Let me turn on the light in my room.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. So we're live right now, Matthew. If you could, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you went to college, stuff like that? Go ahead and begin.
Okay. Hello, I'm Matthew Arnold. I'm from Hoover, obviously, and I'm going to the University of Mount Union right now. I'm still a freshman.
Okay. Matt, the first question I have for you is, you've been in college for a couple weeks now. What have you experienced in terms of like homework, study time? How long do you spend on homework or how much time do you spend on homework every night? Do you not work on homework every night? Maybe is it only a couple times a week? And maybe if you could tell us too, what your classes are like what's your schedule look like? When do you start in the morning? When do you finish? I know it's a big question here, but if you could kind of answer that for me, I'd appreciate that.
All right, so I guess I'll answer the last part of that first with like my schedule. So I have two different schedules, I guess, for like I have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday classes. And so that's two classes each of those days, and I have those in the afternoon. And then Tuesday and Thursday, I have two classes that are in the early morning that are slightly longer to make up for only being 2 days in the week. Homework, I don't have it every day. Honestly, I should probably do it more often than I do because I have found myself having to cram a lot for a test before, which isn't fun. But I should note that most homework isn't really like doing work. It's like it's reading basically. It's not very often that I actually have to like write something or do a worksheet or whatever. In fact, I don't think I've ever had to do a worksheet in college.
Good. How much reading would you say you have for homework on average?
I've only really had to do consistently readings for one class, and that book is pretty big. So like one chapter in that book with me writing notes from the book at the same time, that would take me about an hour to read. And so when I was saying the cramming, I had to read like numerous chapters in like one day, which is why I say you don't want to have to cram because that's like 3 hours at a time, which one of the great things about college is that you like what you're studying usually because you pick the class. So like I like history, so I'm enjoying learning as much as I am about, whatever we were learning about in the book at the time, like India or whatever. But 3 hours of it all at once, it gets a little draining.
Have you declared your major yet? And if so, whether you have or not, what kind of classes are you taking right now?
I haven't declared my major yet, but I intend on majoring in history and possibly a dual major in international affairs and diplomacy as well. Right now I'm taking World Conflicts and Politics, Asian Civilization 1, a FYS class, which is like a homeroom in which you actually learn things, which is basically Western philosophy is what mine is. And in a grammar rhetoric class, which is basically like 7th grade English class.
Nice. Does Mount Union have an honors college? Like, is it all pretty much just one college? Do they have an honors college? Do they have separate divisions within their college?
There is an honors program, but I decided not to join it. My roommate actually is in it, though.
Why? Just if you can tell us, why did you decide not to do the honors program?
At the time, I might have been making a dumb decision because it just didn't seem like it was worth it. Like, how much is that really going to add to my experience? I didn't really see any point to joining it. And part of me does kind of feel like I made the right decision because they have to. My roommate's like sitting right here, so I hope I'm not offending him. But it seems that they have this one class that they had to take for their freshman seminar thing that was like gender studies in Disney princesses. And
options.
oh, there are
I
options.
just picked that because I like Disney.
Oh, okay. Well, what are the kind of things that you have to pick from?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I'd have to look at all the options online again.
Okay, well, there were a few options that they could have picked from, and that was what he picked, I guess. And I feel like that isn't as interesting as some of the things I get to do as a non-honors student. Like my Western philosophy class might be one of my favorite. It's an amazing class. I really enjoy it.
Super cool. So where's since your roommate's there, we might as well, as you mind hopping on and like showing his face?
Sure. Hold on one second.
Who is this guy?
Nash Timko.
Hello there.
Hi, where'd you go to high school?
I went to Joseph Badger in near Warren, Ohio. If you know where that is.
I went to Warren Champion. That's where I graduated high school, so I know exactly where that is.
So, yeah. All right then.
Super cool.
Pleasant surprise for me. No one ever seems to know where that is.
Yeah, they were in our athletic division, our tiny little athletic division back in the day, back in the 1830s when I was in high school. Anyways. Cool. All right, hey, Nash, if you want to hop in, I know this is kind of Matt's thing, but if you want to hop in and answer questions, I mean,
I can answer a few.
Okay. Super cool. Thanks. All right, I want to get back to Matt here.
Okay.
Matt, can you tell us freshman experience? Do you guys have some type of like freshman orientation, freshman experience that you have to do?
We did. It consisted mainly of many of those games that you play in like middle school or like, when you're like a kindergartner to like get to know people. And so, I mean, it was cool, I guess. I didn't personally meet anybody who I really meshed with, but I know that many people did. Many people met the person that they later requested to become their roommate with. So, I mean, it works for some people.
Cool. This next question is kind of personal, and if you don't want to answer it, that's fine. It has to do with financial aid. Can you tell us like anything about Mount Union, like what type of financial aid you got from them? And again, if you don't want to answer the question, we'll just move on to the next one. That's fine.
No, that's
but
fine.
I wonder if there's anything you can tell us about getting financial aid, applying financial aid, like what kind of packages do you have?
From my experience, I can tell you that if you're in middle class to upper middle class, you're probably not going to get much, unfortunately. I personally got like half my tuition paid for because I don't know, Mount Union thinks I'm smart. So, I mean, try to impress your college and they'll give you money, but otherwise you're probably not going to get all that much, unfortunately.
That's pretty much what I've heard from a lot of the kids I've interviewed for this.
Yeah.
Does Mount Union have any academic support for you as a student? Like, is there a place you can go to get help with writing, to get help studying? Maybe tell us a little bit, what's their library like, or anything else that the college, I graduated from Mount Union, you probably know that, but that was thousands of years ago, and it's changed so much since I went there. What's the academic studying library situation like right now?
Well, we have the Digital Writing Oral Communication Studio. Is that what it's called? Yeah, the DWAC, which is basically everything you just said. You go there with like a paper, and they'll help you. Even without a paper, they'll help you just like start to write a paper. Like they'll brainstorm with you, and then once you have something, they'll like, okay, this sounds good, and they'll like go through it and check it out for you. And then oral communication, you can also go there to like practice speeches and presentations and stuff. So that's pretty cool. Honestly, my roommate probably knows more about the library than I do because he spent more time there. So let me put him on for a second. Do you mind?
Fine.
Here, get you out of the way.
Yeah. I mean, the library here is just massive, and then they also have the online library that you can find pretty much any book you want, and then you can order books from other colleges and even from some public libraries, and they'll ship it to the library, and you can pick it up there. It's what, 3 floors of shelves. It's pretty cool. I mean, I just enjoy walking through the aisles, finding random books every now and again. Well, that covers that.
Cool, thank you. So we've already got a shot of your dorm, and it looks like it's pretty amazing. Like you've got a lot of stuff on the walls. Looks like there's a lot of shelving opportunities, flat screen TVs. Tell us a little bit about dorm life at Mount Union. Maybe I'm guessing you guys are probably in Cunningham.
McCready.
McCready. Yeah,
McCready. Either way, most freshmen you get put in what is essentially a 10 by 10 cinder block prison cell.
Yes.
With no AC. If you could just tell us a little bit about your dorm and what dorm life is like on campus.
It's like living in a motel, kind of. You have plenty of room, I guess. Like honestly, we could have more room if I made my bed like lofted, but you know, neither of us need any more room than we have, so we don't do that. Sharing living space is not the most pleasant thing, I guess, but you know, it's a learning experience, I guess. Sharing the bathroom with a floor of other teenagers is particularly unpleasant, but I mean, I know to speak to the students as someone who was a student at Hoover just last year, I can tell you that the bathrooms are taken care of better here than they are at Hoover, mainly because you know, kids have to be concerned about the fact that, oh, like this is my bathroom too. You know, like they don't get to go home and not deal with like a stall door being ripped off or whatever that happened at Hoover. So nothing like that. We've had our incidents. In fact, everybody on our floor individually was charged $75 for a cleaning fee because of an incident that I've been told not to talk about on this interview.
Really? Who told you? Who told you not to talk about it?
My sister, because she thinks it's embarrassing, even though it has nothing to do with me. So
I'm going to totally ask her what it is because I have to know. I really have to know.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for that. Are there any other? I know Mount Union has they have townhouses and stuff like that. What do you have to do to get into one of those?
I have no idea.
I have an idea.
Okay, my roommate has an idea. So,
well, the townhouses are reserved for juniors and seniors, and obviously they cost a lot more than one of these dorm rooms here. So and they give like preference because I'm an honors student and I did this special little challenge thing they have. You have to go to certain events and do stuff, and they'll give you extra priority in housing. So next year, due to I took college classes as a senior in high school, so I'm a sophomore this year. And so I'll be a junior next year, and they'll let me go into one of those townhouses, and I'll have a greater chance of getting one of those rooms over any other student just who wants to get it. It's just yeah, they how was it explained to me? It's like they do housing points, and the more points you have, the better, the higher up you are on the list to get your house or dorm.
Good, thanks. Let's talk about some student life type questions. The first thing I think that's on all of our minds, what's the food like?
If you like hamburger and pizza, you will love it here. If you don't like those two, you will hate it here. Because they have those, you know how I'm sure many students will be aware of the fact that they serve chicken and pizza every single day at Hoover. So it's like that, except the pizza isn't as good as it is at Hoover. It's it's always too doughy. Cheeseburgers are good though, but they get old after a while. They have a section that changes every single day, but it's almost never like something normal. It's always like some crazy like Japanese dish or like Thai food or whatever. Like I've only seen meatloaf and mashed potatoes like once, which is, that's all I need. Meatloaf and mashed potatoes. They also have a salad bar, and I think you can get like a sub. So if you like that, you can get that too.
They still have the all-you-can-drink chocolate milk machine?
They have a chocolate milk machine, yeah.
Okay, that was the highlight of my college experience at Mount Union. That was probably the best thing we had in the cafeteria time. Although I will say, when I was there, the food was good. The food was really good. They always had just a lot of different variety, multiple lines, make your own sub type of thing. So it's kind of sad to hear that they're a cheeseburger pizza campus now.
It's not bad, but it's nothing to write home about being good.
The next question I have now, keep in mind, we're doing this for high school kids, and I know you guys are probably two pretty crazy partiers. But like socially, what type of things are there for you to do on the weekends?
If you're not into partying and getting yourself in trouble, not much. I know I personally go home on the weekend pretty often because there's not really much to do. There are a lot fewer. I think there are fewer clubs here offered than there are at Hoover, so that's another thing. And even what clubs there are, like I joined one and I mean that's just an hour on Monday night, and then it's over for the rest of the week. So it's a little difficult to like get to know people, especially since in like high school and middle school or whatever, like a class is, here's something to do. Okay, well I finished it now, so I can talk to the people around me. In college is not like that. It's you sit down and listen to someone talk for like an hour and a half, and then you leave. So getting to know new people is kind of a struggle. Not that I recommend that you go out and party and stuff, but I suppose that is one way to, meet people.
I tell you, that hasn't changed either. It was pretty much the same thing when I was there.
Yeah.
So how many fraternities have you guys applied for?
None for me. I don't know about my roommate.
I hate frats.
He says he hates frats, so.
He hates frats. My recommendation to the kids is always don't join a fraternity, but know someone who's in a fraternity so they can get you in. That's like the secret to frat life.
Well, I've got that, so I guess I've got my ticket in.
Do you guys do any football games or anything like that? I mean, is there anything socially that you've done or participated in?
I have not personally gone to any. In fact, I think how many have we even had so far?
There have been a few.
There have been a few.
I couldn't tell you how many offhand.
I think there's only been like one or two so far this year. And I think they're like I said, I usually go home for the weekend. So and they're on like Friday night or Saturday night.
Saturday
night, yeah. So I've never been to one so far. I'm not really a football guy myself, so
that's cool. I'm kind of surprised there aren't more social opportunities or clubs or something. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys helping me out here. If you could, what is there anything else we should know, like what it's like to be maybe at a small private college? Any other recommendations you'd have? Like, would you recommend kids go to Mount Union? Would you recommend they look at other colleges? Like, what do you think?
I would recommend smaller schools in general, just because the smaller the school, most likely the smaller the class, and the smaller the class, the more likely a professor is to get to know you and like give you more specialized teaching or whatever. Not really specialized teaching, but you get a benefit from a teacher knowing about you and getting to know you. You don't really get all that much if you're like one face amongst like 100 or whatever in a giant auditorium with a teacher talking to you. So there's that. Anything else that I would want kids to know? It's kind of scary how like for myself at least, it'll be like my third day in class and a professor will tell me like something that they've noticed about me that like, I don't know, it's just kind of creepy. Like they'll be like, oh my goodness, what, like I'll turn in something that I wrote and they'll be like, that fits your personality so well. I'm like, how can you tell? It's only like the third day. But like, I don't know, or a lot of them have said like, how bright I obviously am, how smart you obviously are. I'm like, how do you know? I haven't turned in anything yet, so I don't know, teachers, I guess, recognize that faster here.
Cool. Do you guys remember from orientation any of the weird traditions, I'm trying to think, like, I know there are certain things, like if you walk across a bridge with a girl, or if you walk around a tree, like it means, like, can you tell us some of those, like, hokey things?
Yeah, something about like the bridge. We have a pond on campus, and there's a bridge that goes across like a narrow point in it. And I guess if you kiss a girl in there, you're gonna get married or whatever. And then there's a seal on the floor in Chapman Hall, in which a lot of classes are. And if you step on it on the day of an exam, the tradition goes that you'll fail that exam. I have yet to test this, but I'm not sure I ever will, in case it is true.
Cool. I guess I have another question too. You probably don't have jobs yet because you just started college. Do either of you plan to do like a work study or to get a job off campus?
Yeah, I do. I don't know about my roommate. He actually had to go, so he's not here right now. I do plan to, but they actually do not allow freshmen in their first semester to get a work study thing. I don't see it. I don't think they could stop you if you wanted to get one off campus, but I'm not really interested in that. But yeah, they won't let you do it on first semester, just so that you can get settled in and not overexert yourself, I guess.
Cool. How's this new Sheets across the street? You guys hit that up a lot? Go to Papa Gyro's or anything like that?
I tried Papa Gyro's the first day and thought it was disgusting. I haven't been to Sheets, but it is like it's right outside our window. Like I could see it if I got up right now. There was actually a funny story about Sheets. Very first day that very first day of college, my very first night here, there is a giant fight in the parking lot of Sheets between like local high schooler kids and the freshman class because someone was looking at somebody's girlfriend or whatever. So that was entertaining.
Nice. Cool. Well, I appreciate your help again. I'm going to shut down the broadcast if you just hold on the line for a moment.